The evening air was cool, carrying the faint scent of rain that had fallen earlier that afternoon. Streetlights flickered awake one by one, casting long golden reflections on the damp pavement. Daniel Carter tightened his grip on the small hand tucked inside his own as he and his 8-year-old son, Leo, walked home from the grocery store. Being a single father hadn't been part of Daniel's plan. 3 years earlier, life had been loud and full, school runs shared with his wife, weekend movie nights, laughter echoing through their small apartment. But after she passed away from a sudden illness, the laughter had quieted. Since then, it had been just the two of them against the world. "Dad," Leo said, balancing a paper bag filled with bread, "can we make pancakes tomorrow?" Daniel smiled. "If you promise not to burn them again." "That only happened once," Leo protested. They both laughed, the sound soft but genuine. As they turned onto Maple Street, usually calm at this hour, Daniel noticed something unusual. A woman stood near a closed bookstore, clutching her purse tightly. 3 young men surrounded her, their posture careless but blocking her path. Daniel slowed his steps. The woman looked to be in her late 20s, dressed in office clothes, her expression tense. One of the young men leaned against the wall beside her, another scrolling through his phone as if this were entertainment, and the third stood directly in front of her. "Come on," one of them said casually. "We're just talking." "I said I'm not interested," the woman replied, trying to step around them. They shifted, closing the gap again. Leo looked up at his father. "Dad, what's happening?" Daniel's heart began to pound. He wasn't a fighter. He worked as an accountant, spent weekends assembling school projects, and considered parallel parking a major challenge. But he also knew something else: some moments define who you are. He glanced around. The street wasn't empty, but everyone else seemed to be walking faster, pretending not to notice. Daniel handed the grocery bag to Leo. "Stay right here," he said gently. "And don't move." Leo nodded, eyes wide. Daniel walked forward, each step feeling heavier than the last. "Hey," he called out, his voice steady despite the adrenaline. "Is there a problem here?" The young men turned. One smirked. "Mind your business." Daniel met his gaze calmly. "Looks like she wants to leave." The woman's eyes flickered toward Daniel, surprised, hopeful. Another of the young men laughed. "Why do you care?" Daniel thought of Leo standing behind him, watching. "Children learn more from what you did than what you said." "Because it's the right thing," Daniel answered simply. For a brief moment, no one spoke. Cars passed in the distance, their tires whispering over wet asphalt. Then the tallest of the 3 stepped closer. "You trying to be a hero?" Daniel swallowed but didn't step back. "No. Just asking you to give her space." The tension tightened like a pulled thread. Seconds stretched. And then, a small voice broke the silence. "My dad is a hero." Everyone turned. Leo had walked closer than Daniel realized, standing a few feet behind him, shoulders squared despite the obvious nervousness in his eyes. The words landed heavier than any shout. Something shifted. One of the young men exhaled sharply and looked away. Another scratched the back of his neck. The tallest muttered, "Whatever, man," and stepped aside. The others followed. Just like that, the circle broke. The street went silent, not with fear, but with the quiet recognition that something decent had just happened. The woman quickly moved away from the wall. "Thank you," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "I didn't know what to do." "You're okay now," Daniel replied. "Do you need help getting somewhere?" She nodded. "The bus stop is 2 blocks away." "I just felt uncomfortable walking alone." Daniel glanced at Leo, then back at her. "We're heading that direction. You can walk with us." As they started down the street together, the distance between them and the young men growing, the woman let out a long breath. "I'm Maya," she said. "Daniel. And this is Leo." Leo gave a shy wave. After a moment, Maya smiled at him. "You're very brave, you know." Leo looked at his sneakers. "I was scared, but my dad says being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It just means you do what's right anyway." Daniel blinked, surprised. He didn't remember saying that, at least not recently. But kids carried your words with them. When they reached the bus stop, its bright overhead light humming softly, Maya turned to Daniel again. "Most people just walked past," she said. "You didn't." Daniel shrugged lightly. "I hope if Leo were ever in trouble someday, someone would stop for him too." The bus arrived with a hiss of brakes. Before stepping on, Maya paused. "You probably don't realize this," she said, "but what you did tonight matters. Kindness is louder than people think." As the bus pulled away, Leo tugged Daniel's sleeve. "Dad?" "Yeah. I want to be like you when I grow up." Daniel felt his chest tighten, not with fear this time, but with something warmer. "You don't have to be like me," he said softly. "Just be someone who helps when it counts." They resumed their walk home. The clouds had begun to part, revealing a few scattered stars. Halfway down the block, Leo slipped his hand back into Daniel's. "Were you really scared?" Leo asked. Daniel chuckled quietly. "Terrified." Leo grinned. "Me too." They walked in comfortable silence until Leo spoke again. "Mom would have been proud of you." Daniel looked up at the night sky. "I hope so," he whispered. When they reached their apartment building, Daniel realized something important: courage didn't always roar. Sometimes it was just a calm voice in a tense moment. Sometimes it was choosing not to look away. And sometimes, it was a small boy reminding the world what a hero looked like. That night, as Daniel tucked Leo into bed, Leo mumbled sleepily, "The street went really quiet when you stood there." Daniel smiled. "Yes," he said, turning off the lamp. "Sometimes doing the right thing makes all the noise disappear." Outside, Maple Street rested peacefully under the glow of streetlights, unchanged, yet somehow better than it had been before.